1 week. That's all the time left before Iran could have enough material to build a nuclear bomb. The United States has 2 aircraft carriers closing in on the region, and right now, inside the White House, there's a war of words between the president and his own top general. The question isn't just whether America will strike Iran again, it's whether the world is ready for what comes next. Let's rewind to June 2025. The United States launched what it called Operation Midnight Hammer, a massive series of airstrikes targeting Iran's nuclear facilities. Trump declared it an overwhelming success. A mission that, in his words, obliterated Iran's nuclear program. The White House stood by that claim again just this week. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt confirmed the strikes did, in fact,
obliterate Iran's nuclear facilities, and said the destruction had been verified by both Trump and the International Atomic Energy Agency, the IAEA. But here's the problem. The IAEA's own inspectors have not been able to physically access Iran's nuclear sites since those June strikes. And right after the attack, the IAEA chief himself warned that Iran could resume uranium enrichment within, quote, a matter of months. The Pentagon's own assessment was more modest. The strikes set Iran's nuclear program back by just 1 to 2 years. Not destroyed, set back. There's a massive difference. Now fast forward to this weekend. Trump's own Middle East envoy, Steve Witkoff, appeared on Fox News and dropped a bombshell. No pun intended. They're probably a week away from having industrial-grade bomb-making material, Witkoff said. Let that sink in. The White House is simultaneously claiming Iran's nuclear program was obliterated and that Iran is 7 days away from bomb-making capability. That is a direct contradiction. And it tells you everything you need to know about how murky this situation really is. Before the June 2025 strikes, Iran was enriching uranium at 60% purity. Weapons grade requires around 90%. Now, no one outside Tehran, and arguably no one inside either, knows exactly where Iran stands. What we do know is this. Iran has publicly denied seeking a nuclear weapon. It says it's willing to accept minimal enrichment under strict IAEA supervision, in exchange for the US lifting its crippling sanctions. But Trump has drawn a hard line. Zero enrichment. Period. That gap between their positions is what's driving the entire crisis. And now it gets even more dramatic, inside the walls of the White House itself.
Multiple outlets, including Axios and The Washington Post, reported this week that General Dan Kane, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, raised serious concerns in internal Pentagon meetings about the risks of striking Iran again. What kind of risks? Iranian proxies launching retaliatory strikes across the region. The US getting dragged into a prolonged, costly war. A lack of adequate air defense munitions in the region. This isn't a junior officer raising concerns. This is America's top military commander saying, slow down. Trump's response? He went straight to Truth Social and called it, you guessed it, fake news. He insisted that Kane believes any conflict with Iran would be easily won. And he made crystal clear who makes the final call. I am the one that makes the decision. If we don't make a deal, it will be a very bad day for that country. This public clash between a sitting president and his Joint Chiefs chairman is extraordinary. And it signals just how real and how close a military confrontation might be. While diplomats talk, the Pentagon is moving fast. The USS Gerald R. Ford, the world's largest warship, was tracked passing through the Strait of Gibraltar just days ago, heading toward the Mediterranean and the Middle East. It joins the USS Abraham Lincoln, already positioned in the region. 2 aircraft carrier strike groups, dozens of jet fighter squadrons, refueling aircraft, naval destroyers. It is one of the largest US military buildups in the Middle East in decades. And the US has also been quietly reinforcing air defense systems in Qatar and Saudi Arabia, not just for offense, but to shield its allies from Iranian retaliation if strikes happen. Retired 4-star General Joseph Votel put it bluntly. Iran could try to target oil refineries across the Persian Gulf to drag regional powers into the conflict. Saudi Arabia, Qatar, the UAE, all of them sitting on the powder keg. Arab state leaders privately expressed concern to US officials about the timing of any strikes, worried their countries weren't ready for the blowback. But in recent days, Washington has reportedly reassured them, "We've got you covered." There is still one lifeline: diplomacy.
Trump's envoy Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner are heading to Geneva to meet Iranian negotiators in what could be the most consequential round of talks yet. It's the third round of negotiations this year. Both sides say they want a deal, but their starting positions couldn't be further apart. Iran wants sanctions lifted and the right to enrich uranium, even if at minimal levels. The US wants zero enrichment and Iran's stockpile of nuclear material surrendered. Witkoff didn't mince words. Zero enrichment, we have to have the material back. When asked why Iran hasn't simply given in under all this military and economic pressure, Witkoff revealed that Trump himself is baffled. He's curious as to why they haven't capitulated, Witkoff said. That word, capitulated, tells you exactly how the White House views these negotiations, not as a compromise, as a surrender. Here's where we stand. The White House says Iran's nuclear program was destroyed, but its own envoy says Iran is a week from bomb-making material. America's top general is urging caution, and the president is publicly overruling him. 2 aircraft carriers are closing in, and the clock on diplomacy is ticking. The next few days, possibly the next few hours, could determine whether the Middle East sees another strike, or a deal that pulls the world back from the edge. One thing is certain: whatever happens in Geneva this week will echo across the globe for years to come. If you want to stay ahead of the stories reshaping our world, subscribe and hit the bell. We cover the events that actually matter. No noise, just the truth.